Okay, so today we're going to be doing a long layered bob with using just clippers only. So first up is going to be making sure that your client is centered, section out from the forehead down the middle, and then you're going to section at the break point right behind the ear, separating the front from the back. Clip the front two sections out of the way. So now you have just the back section. You're going to take the back section and divide it in half right above the occipital bone, making sure that you're taking a straight sectioning all the way across. Nice thing about working with clippers is you're able to take larger sections because you have more power going through and you want to see those nice blunt lines. So now we're going to clip this section up and out of the way for the moment. So now we have our starting section where we're going to create our guide using your clipper. I always have the client look directly down so that it will create a slight undercut within the section. Starting in the center, we're going to create our guide. Keeping it nice and long, holding it just like you would with shears, and taking that section off. We're going to now follow directly over, taking another 1-inch section, holding the hair, finding our guide, directing it off. Go to the opposite side, take a 1-inch direction. As a reminder, make sure you're staying directly behind your guide. Remove the hair. Then moving over another 1 inch on this side. Finding my guide, taking it directly off. At this point, have the client look up. So that you can check to make sure that both sides are nice and even by directing it to the center. If you're keeping the head straight up, make sure when you grab the hair, twist your fingers under slightly to create that undercut while taking it off. Again, checking just to make sure. Good. So now we're going to bring down the second section. We have our underneath guide. So now we're just going to take it and match it up. So again, starting in the center, take a 1-inch section. If the hair is thicker, you may want to take a smaller section so that you can see your guide. Otherwise, what you can do is take your comb, hold the ends of the hair up until you find your guide with your fingers, and then again, twist under. Then working in a 1-inch section, back and forth on both sides. Now we're going to pull down the sides and continue the guide all the way through to the side. So again, taking a 1-inch section past that break point, twisting under, taking the hair off. Come to the opposite side, do the same thing. 1-inch section, grabbing it under, removing the hair. So using that traveling guide as you're progressing toward the front. Use the mirror to check to make sure we're nice and even. You can already see by undercutting that it's creating that soft wave underneath. The last thing that we're gonna do is the bangs. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come up, I'm actually going to section out the fringe area, going from the eyebrow right to the apex, and then same thing on the opposite side. So we want to make sure that both sides are even, so that when we do the bang, they fall even on both sides. So again, taking just that triangle section from the edge of the brow back to the apex of the head. Apex meaning the highest point of the head. Clip that out of the way. So now we're gonna go in and do layering. So within the layering, we're gonna start it out as a basic 180. Again, going right behind the break point in the crown. Taking a 1-inch square section. Pulling it up to create our guide. So we want our layers to start and fall right about here. So I'm pulling it straight up, going to use the clippers, and once again, clipper over fingers, take that directly off. Let it fall. Now that we have our guide, it will be a stationary guide. Everything that we use will be pulled directly to that top section. Starting at that break point, I'm actually going to make a pie section, pulling everything up. If it falls out, it falls out. Let it fall. Taking the next section. Straight up. Let it fall. One of the keys when you are doing this haircut on a female using clippers, cordless clippers do work the best, however you can use corded, but when you are working, you always want to make sure that your clipper blade is away from the client. So as I'm pulling this up, my clipper blade is away from the hair, and I'm pulling it straight up, then bringing the clipper blade to the hair. So again, maintaining my guide, taking a 1-inch section, pulling it straight up. Whatever hair falls out, let it fall out. And then continue working all the way to the other side in the same pie shape till you get to the break point. Now that I've gone to my break point, I'm actually going to create a mohawk strip, 1-inch section straight down the middle to expand my guide. Again, pulling everything straight up, making sure not to pull from the fringe area. I still have my original guide. Now I'm going to expand it. Just like in the back, I'm going to start the front, work my way back to where I've previously cut, taking 1-inch sections and pulling them directly up. Letting whatever falls out, fall out. Making sure that I cross over the break point, including what's behind and in front. That way I know that my guides are matching. Repeat the same thing on the opposite side. So now I have the basic haircut done, so I'm going to go in and check it. So again, checking, same thing. You're going to hold the clippers away from the hair, but you're going to come in horizontally, working your way up, making sure as you pull up, everything is nice and clean. Now we have our layering in there. As we can see, we want to soften this and make it more round. So we're actually going to expand our layers out, directing straight back. So I'm going to start in the middle. Directing the hair straight back. Finding the slight point and taking that off. Working to one side, look straight back, finding the point, taking it off. Nice and soft layers. This will create slight over direction in the layers as we move forward. But just low around the perimeter. Go to the other side, again starting in the center, working my way toward the exterior of the hair. So now we've created that softness in the layers, which creates a nice round. If we want to go back in and add some texture to the hair, I'm going to hold my clippers slightly different. This time I am going to pull directly out, but then I'm going to take from the top. I'm just on my ends and just kind of go in just like if you were thinning the hair. Going in and notching it just to soften it a little bit more. This is something to do for the top layer so that you can create a little bit more softness within the cut if they don't want it super blunt. Now if I were going into the interior of the hair, I would section from the parietal ridge all the way around, making a U shape. Again, using the clippers. I'm going to take a 1-inch section. Here you can be a little bit more adventurous with it. So if I'm going to be removing bulk, I'm actually going to take the hair, twist to where my hand is flat, and tap, 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 being very gentle so that I'm not taking too much out. It's a technique of notching so that I'm thinning out those ends without taking length or bulk out. So again, nice and soft, twisting to the left, using the tip of my clipper to just notch ever so slightly, just to remove some of the bulk. And you can see very little hair is coming out. Again, taking that section, twist, tap, 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 removing some of that bulk. Another way that you can remove bulk if you need to, if you're feeling a little bit more adventurous with it, take a large section, hold it directly up. As the hair falls out, just let it fall against the clipper. So again, let's move that to where you can see it a little bit better. So I'm going to take a larger section. I'm going to pull it up, letting it fall against the clipper as you let it fall. Notice it just thins it out without taking length or bulk out of the hair. And holding it up, just letting it fall naturally against the clipper. So you see not every hair is touching the clipper. Just removing some of that bulk. So now we're going to do the bang. So what I'm going to actually do now is clip the hair that is not part of the fringe area away from the face, because I don't want it falling into it as I'm cutting it. So I'm going to clip all that away. Reason I do the bangs last is always because you don't want things in the client's face while you're cutting. So you can either do it very first and get it out of the way, but if they're doing a longer bang, it may lay in the face and then they're going to be dealing with that hair the whole time. So utilizing the bang last is actually a good way to keep the customer happy. So when doing the bang, I'm going to determine the length we want the bang. And I'm actually going to use my comb, using my non-dominant hand, coming in, determining my length, making sure that my angles are correct. And then I'm going to use the comb as my guide to keep it nice and even. And just take it directly off. Gives me a nice, even, sharp bang with no issues. One swipe, you're done. So utilizing a longer bang, we're gonna comb her out to where we can make sure she looks nice and even. So a nice long bob with layers and texture. And now I'll style her out.